Let's be honest, installing a powerful system like Asterisk from source code can sound, well, a little scary. But what if I told you it's not nearly as hard as it seems? In this explainer, we're going to break it all down, turning this supposedly complex process into a simple, step-by-step walkthrough. You'll end up with the best possible platform to learn and build on.
So, before we get our hands dirty, what is Asterisk anyway? Well, at its heart, it's an open-source toolkit for building all sorts of communication apps. You can think of it as a set of powerful building blocks that lets you create anything from a simple office phone system to a complex call center, all running on a Linux machine.
You might be wondering, why go through all this trouble? Why not just use a pre-built package? Great question. It really boils down to two things: control and features. When you build from source, you get the absolute latest version with all the newest goodies, and you have total control over what gets installed. It's how the pros do it, and it gives you a rock-solid foundation.
To make this super clear, we're going to follow a simple roadmap. First, we'll get our system prepped and ready. Then, we'll walk through the actual installation roadmap. After that, we'll handle a few essential first-time configurations. Then comes the fun part. We'll launch it and make sure it works. And finally, we'll cover a couple of common little snags you might hit along the way.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, getting your system ready. You know, proper prep work makes everything else so much easier. Before we even think about downloading code, we've got to make sure our Linux environment is in perfect shape.
First things first, and listen, this is a big one. You really need to use a server OS that does not have a graphical user interface or a GUI. Why? Well, Asterisk is all about real-time audio. It needs the CPU's full attention to handle calls without any stutter or delay. A GUI is greedy. It fights for those same CPU resources, and that's a fight you don't want. Oh, and since we're installing system-wide software, you'll see us using sudo for a lot of these commands.
Okay, these two commands are basically your one-stop shop for getting the system ready to build. We're not installing Asterisk itself just yet. This step is all about getting the dependencies, the compilers, tools, and libraries that Asterisk needs in order to compile correctly. We've got you covered whether you're on an Ubuntu-based system or a real-based one.
Awesome. Our system is prepped and we are ready for the main event. It's time to take that source code and turn it into a living, breathing application. And don't worry, it follows a very clear, logical sequence.
Now, the order here is not a suggestion. It's absolutely mandatory. You have to install DAD first. That's the hardware interface, and you need it even if you don't have any special hardware. Then comes libpri, which handles traditional phone connections. Only after those two are installed can we finally install Asterisk. This is so important because Asterisk looks for these components when it's being built. First up, let's practice some good housekeeping. We'll start by making a nice, clean directory right in our home folder to keep all our source code organized. Trust me, this will make your life easier later on.
All right, next we're going to use a command called wget to grab the compressed source code. It's often called a tarball for the latest stable Asterisk version. As soon as that's downloaded, we'll immediately unpack it with the tar command.
This right here is the classic four-step dance for building software on Linux. First, we run .configure. It's like a little script that scans your system to make sure all those dependencies we installed are present. Then, make does all the heavy lifting, compiling the code. After that, sudo make install copies the new files where they need to go, and finally, sudo make config sets Asterisk up to run as a service when your server boots.
Okay. The software is installed, but it's not quite ready to start. It's like a car with no key in the ignition. We need to create a few super minimal configuration files just to get it to start up cleanly.
This next step is all about permissions and security. During the install, a special, non-powerful user called Asterisk-PBX was created. This command simply gives that user ownership of all the folders it needs to write to, for things like log files, voicemails, and other temporary files.
Next up, we create what is probably the single most important directory for Asterisk, /etc/asterisk. This is where the brains of the operation will live. All your config files go here. And just like before, we give our special Asterisk user ownership of this folder.
All right, time to create our very first configuration file. It's called modules.conf, and it tells Asterisk which plugins to load when it starts. We're using this neat little cat command to create the file and type directly into it from the command line.
And inside that file, we're just going to add these two simple lines. First, the header, modules, and then the magic instruction, autoload yes. For now, this is the easy button. It just tells Asterisk to load up every module it can find.
Once you type that in, just hit Control-D to save the file.
One last little configuration tweak, I promise. We just need to edit the main asterisk.conf file. Find the lines for run user and run group, and set them both to *PBX. This is a really important security step that makes sure Asterisk doesn't run with all powerful root privileges.
Okay, this is it. The prep work is done, the code is compiled, the basic config is in place. This is the moment of truth. Let's fire this thing up for the first time and see all our hard work pay off.
To get it started, we're going to run the Asterisk program with these flags, -C VVV. This basically tells it to start up in the console, right here in the foreground, and to be very, very talkative about what it's doing. That way, we can see exactly what's happening as it boots.
And if everything went according to plan, you'll see a whole bunch of text fly by, and then you'll see it *ready, followed by a command prompt. Congratulations! You are now inside the Asterisk command line interface. Go ahead, type module show and hit enter. You'll see a huge list of modules, confirming your new system is alive and kicking.
Now look, even with the best guide in the world, sometimes things just don't go perfectly. So let's quickly talk about one of the most common little hiccups you might run into and how to fix it in seconds.
If you go to run a command and you see an error that looks like this, command not found, please don't panic. This happens all the time. It just means that a program we need, in this case wget, didn't get installed back when we were setting up our dependencies.
And the fix is a piece of cake. You just use your system's package manager, apt-get for Ubuntu or yum for RHEL, to install whatever was missing. Now here's the most important part. After you install it, you must go back to the Asterisk source code folder and run that /configure script again. That lets it find the new tool you just installed.
And just like that, you've done it. You've successfully installed Asterisk from source code. You've built a solid foundation for an incredibly powerful communication system. Of course, the next steps are to set up some phones and build a dial plan, but with the foundation you've just built, the possibilities are literally endless. So the only question left is, what are you going to build first?